What's up guys, Matt J Man here, but you can call me Jordan, and welcome to my review of Need for Speed Heat. So, Need for Speed Heat, latest installment of the Need for Speed franchise after the dumpster fire that was Payback. It was littered with microtransactions, loot boxes, the upgrade system was terrible, and the game just wasn't fun to play. Fast forward 2 years, and here we are with Need for Speed Heat, and I have to say, I'm loving the game so far. I've only played around 2 hours of it, but I've enjoyed every single minute of it. I'll try not to make this review too long, but there is quite a bit to talk about, as I'll be splitting it into different parts in order of what I think is important in a Need for Speed game. I'll be splitting it into gameplay, handling, environment and map, customization, and soundtrack, and scoring them out of 10 at the end of each segment. So without further ado, let's get into the review. First, let's get into gameplay. For me, gameplay is the most important aspect of any video game, because if a game has bad gameplay, I'm not going to enjoy playing it. With Need for Speed Heat, I'm absolutely loving the gameplay. I love the whole day and night system where you can race freely in the day, cause havoc at night. I love the system that's like Need for Speed Rivals, where the longer you stay out, the more rep you get, and once you get caught, you use all of it. So it's like a high risk, high reward kind of system. The collectibles are back, which are also something that were in Need for Speed Payback, and personally I like them. I think they add another thing to do in the game, which is always great in a Need for Speed game. There's definitely lots of things to do in this game, and you'll never get bored of playing it. I score this an 8 out of 10. One thing I do want to touch on, which is kind of related to the collectibles, is the gameplay content in this game, as I think it's really good. By the gameplay content, I mean the stuff that you play the game for. For example, the collectibles. They're not just there for the sake of collecting them. If you collect them all, you get a reward. For example, if you collect all the flamingos, the game gives you a special edition Porsche Cayman GT4, which in my opinion is a great reward, and I think it gives players a great incentive to get all of those collectibles hiding around the map. Next up, we'll be getting into the handling of the cars. I think handling is really important, because if the cars handle terribly, I'm going to have a hard time driving in the game. With that being said, I love the handling in Need for Speed Heat. Cars drive really nice and smooth. There isn't too much understeer or oversteer like it has in previous games, and I don't feel like I have to drift at every corner unless it's extremely sharp, which I like a lot. One thing I will say about the handling though is that the tap accelerate to drift, it is confusing and it's hard to get used to. But eventually, after playing it for quite some time, I have gotten used to it and it feels really good. But I don't know how it works in drift events, as I haven't done any of them yet. I score this a 7.5 out of 10. Environment and map is the next thing we'll get into. The environment in this game feels really alive, especially when you get into the city at night time with all the nightlife and stuff. It feels amazing. But even in daytime, it really does feel like Miami with all the beaches and the palm trees. One of the biggest things about the environment and the map is that there's no dead space like there was in previous games, especially Need for Speed Payback, where the middle of the map was basically untouched and there was pretty much no events in that area. The best thing about this map is that there's events in every area, so you never have to drive far to an event, ever. The size of this map is perfect for an open world racer in my opinion, as you never want it too big and you obviously do not want a map that is too small. I score this an 8 out of 10. Now we're getting into customization. Customization is a big thing in racing games for me, especially Need for Speed games, as it's always been a staple of the franchise, and Need for Speed Heat's customization does not disappoint. This may be the longest part of the video just because there's so much to talk about. Although some of it is rehashed parts from previous games, I really like the ability to mix and match parts as you wish. They've also added some new parts for some cars, which is great, but just not enough in my opinion. As for the performance customization, it's a massive revamp from the previous game. Much better. No more loot box mechanics, as parts are unlocked as you play the game, as you complete races, as you level up. As for the parts that are available, they're pretty similar to how they were in E3 2015, where it would go up to Sport, Sport Plus, Pro, Pro Plus, etc., which is much better than Payback and had me questioning why they changed it in the first place. You can also install auxiliary upgrades onto your car, which includes things like reinflatable tires, kill switch, jammer, and much more, which come in very handy in pursuits, which you're bound to get into driving the streets of Palm City at the dead of night. I rate this 7.5 out. The car list is another thing I want to touch on. When it was released, I was actually quite satisfied with it. The nice mix of exotic supercars and tuner cars, as well as a nice amount of muscle. The one problem I have with the car list is the rehashing of some of the cars. For example, they added the BMW i8, and then they added the BMW i8 Spider, which in my opinion was just pointless. I think it was lazy from them just to make it look like they're fleshing out their car list to make it look like they've got a lot more cars, which is, I mean, fair enough, I guess. But they've not only done it with one car, they've done it with multiple cars, which is just a little pet peeve of mine. It's not something I like to see. So for the car list, I'll give it 5 out of 10. Now, onto the soundtrack, which personally doesn't affect me, as I normally mute the in-game music on most of the video games I play my own music instead. But for the first playthrough, just for the first playthrough, I kept on the music. That being said, when I saw the official Need for Speed Twitter account post the soundtrack, I was quite satisfied. They're the perfect blend of rap and EDM, although as I was playing, I felt some of the Spanish music was a little out of place. Some people might say there's too much rap, but that's to be expected as hip hop is currently the most popular genre of music. I'll give the soundtrack a 7.5 out of 10. Before I end my review, I'm just going to touch on the graphics a little, as I'd like to say how amazing the graphics look. I think Ghost have really done a great job on this game. They're definitely the best graphics of any open world arcade racer that I've seen so far. At night, the lighting looks amazing, and the reflections are lifelike, especially in the garage while you're customizing the car. Oh, they look amazing. In the day, the flares from the sun are beautiful, and the shadows are really nice and sharp. And that is going to wrap it up for my review, guys. There isn't really many bad things I can say about this game other than the rehashing of cards and the lack of new customization parts, which can be added in future DLC updates. With new customization parts, this game would easily get a 9 out of 10 from me and go down as the top 3 Need for Speed game in my books. But overall, I give this game an 8.5 out of 10. If you're still watching at this point, leave a comment with some feedback on what I can do better, or interact with me on Twitter or Instagram. Both links should be at the top of the description, as well as a link to my Twitch channel where I'll be streaming Need for Speed Heat as well as other games. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.